There's a lot of different water harvesting structures that we can build, and this is one of the yards that we've planted some trees. We plant a tree for every subscriber. We work for comments. So yesterday we got this comment that triggered the idea of a new water harvesting structure in my mind. Now before I do that, I quickly want to show you, let me just open this thing quickly. Want to show you my cameraman for today, Kunjo. He was so fascinated with the camera the previous time that I decided that I'm going to use him this time to become my cameraman. But let me pick that thing up and go and show you what is our idea with the water harvesting structure. Okay, so no, it's okay, leave those ones, leave the legs, we close that, bring that one. Okay, Kunjo, I'm gonna come with this camera, take that thing off, yeah, hold this, just there, leave the camera, just leave, okay, hold there, okay, hold, not there, only there, both hands, okay, right, so Kunjo's got the camera, you can come Kunjo, slowly, two hands, use both hands, that's it, okay, here we've got a mango that we planted. There's a little water harvesting structure around it. It's just a basin. Normally we build these giant African smiles, and we still think we are going to. Kunjo, show my face again. Show my face. Kunjo, show my face. No. Yeah. Lift it up like that. Okay. Lift it up like that slowly. Here we've got another apple tree. And then here we've got a papaya. Now, let me show you the before of the water harvesting structure quickly. You can see here we dragged out the lines. There's a lot of water coming from Manette, the lady who's got a soup kitchen from that side. This is a guava that we planted yesterday. That is a water harvesting structure over there. And then Nate house over there. And Ishmael back at it again. Do you want to try again? Okay, soon. Okay, so Ishmael's gonna dig it. I quickly have to drive to town, and then I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. So, as we were driving, as I went to go and move the grass for the horses and buy food for the horses, you see there's a bag of food on the back. Im said, listen, he wants to go home, or I said, listen, I'm driving in the direction of your home. Go, finish your work early and I can take you back. We drove past this church, very close to my office. What they do and what churches, well, everybody in Otjiwarongo does, is they take out every single piece of grass and land and anything that's alive, they kill. And so they clean the street side, killed everything here. So we've got this whole heap of mulch that's gathered already for us that we can just load. It's not a friendly loading, there's some thorns in it. So I'm telling Ims to be careful, we didn't bring the right gear to load it. It's also not the cleanest mulch, because I'm sure they wanted to just go and burn it. So there's plastic and things like that. So as we're loading, we're gonna see if we can sort of sort it as much as we can. But this will then go into our new water harvesting structure. And then obviously our compost heaps will never be completed without bankrupt bush. Bankrupt bush is a weed that the animals don't eat. It doesn't even burn nicely in the fires. It's called bankrupt bush for a reason. But permaculture is all about turning problems into profits. So that we're turning this problem into profits by adding it to our mulch pile, adding it to our compost, and turning that the problem for the country and for the area into a solution for that yard. Okay, so let's look at the after product. We just arrived back, offloading all of the mulch. Now this was Tessa's idea. Now Balarki, I think it was Balarki that asked whether all the yards will have worm drums as well. And yes, obviously we want to turn all of this into a permaculture yard, have water harvesting structures, have food grown next to the fence. Somebody said, all these empty fences, why don't we just plant? And it is such a trick. It is such a trick because we planted the 3 trees because that's basically what the people can water with their laundry water. So without spending any bit of more money, we're now building this water bank. Tesha's idea. Rainwater bank. So all the water that runs in there will fill up this hole, and then this will water these 2 trees for a very, very long time. You can fill that up, and then there's some manure there. You can spread that manure in there. Yeah. But you can put all that bush and all that grass. Ims, you can help put everything in, please. This will turn into a compost heap and eventually a vegetable garden. But for now, it will be a rain bank. The rain will go in there. Mara. Good. And so it's a first step. My biggest issue is how to teach these people what permaculture is. You can have a conversation. Come here. Come sit here with me. This guy absolutely stole my heart. He really loves the camera and the camera work. It's just, to him, this is what it's all about. But anyway, you can have a conversation about permaculture. You can have a conversation about mulch. If they're not going to see this at the neighbor's house or at their own house as a success, then it's a problem. That's the first problem. Second problem is permaculture takes long to establish. So for us to have just 1 yard, it's going to take 10 years, and then hopefully the neighbors will do it. So that's why we start on hopefully hundreds of yards. We have a bigger chance of initial success and a bigger chance that permaculture will eventually go out. I'm going to try and see if I can get teachers from the Combustion Institute. Yeah, I've tried to call them again yesterday. I couldn't get all of them to come and show these people basically their success. It's playing with my head and see what that's all about. But yeah, it's sorry, let me just turn the camera around. 2, 3, 4. Just want to do this. Turn the camera around, and so it's all filled up. Ims, this manure here. Ims, this manure here. Let's put that over. Careful. Turn it around. Okay. Ims. So all of this soil was removed from this hole, so now you know every time it rains. I should probably let me show you the way the water walks. This is a very, very low-tech water harvesting structure that's going to have a giant impact. Let me walk around the area quickly and see if I can show you the path that the water will take when it goes in here. I am right, eh? This is manure. Yeah, just put all of that across, split it evenly. I'm coming back now. I'm just going around quickly. Okay, so this is on the other side of the block. I'm going to show you quickly what happens here. So when the rain comes, we're going to just break that little wall there, so the grey water, also the water runs into this ditch here. That grey water we still have to pipe into that first hole. That's our idea. But so you have this whole area as a catchment area. Water comes, you can see even from across the street, there's streams and streams of water running down here. Loads. Then it runs into Manette's yard here. You can see we already put up water harvesting structures for her, water tanks, etc. And so the water first fills this hole. This will become a compost hole. We'll plant papayas around it, hopefully. This will become a first water harvesting structure, get out all the plastic and things like that. Hopefully that will get trapped there. Then the water runs around. Hello, Manette. Water runs in here, fills up this hole here for this tree, fills up this one for this tree, comes around, fills up here, runs around this way between the house and the greenhouse, runs out here, fills up the guava that we planted yesterday, and then fills up that hole, comes back, fills up. Oh, when it's compacted, it's not so full. Surely, so we must add more, no? Not now. Tomorrow maybe. I think tomorrow you must stay here and add more. Let's fill it together. Belinda can help you and the kids can help you. And so we filled it. Seems like a whole truckload of mulch. It's a big hole. You would be a good grave digger. This is an hours of work. So if you don't have an Ishmael, which I am very blessed to have, then it obviously takes a little bit more sweat equity to do something like that. But that's all it takes. It doesn't take any money. It takes time and effort, and a shovel and basic understanding of, or basic idea of where the water's gonna run. You can most of the times you can easily see with your eyes where water will run if you put it on somewhere. And then you start digging a hole, fill it up with organic matter, and then you have a very low-tech system that will have a giant impact on humanity for the future. If you can keep those things maintained with very little effort every year, they will last for generations and generations, and they will add water into the soil, creating a bubble underneath that will feed all the trees around it, and then later on feed the water table. And if you add enough of these across an area, you will lift the water table, completely changing the environment. Now, I might not be able to see it here, but it's not impossible to turn the desert green. I might not be alive to see it one day, but it's not an impossible goal. It's something that hopefully my children and hopefully the children of the village will continue with one day when I'm not here, and turn places like this, barren places, into paradise. Anyway, that's going to be the end of my story. Thank you so much for everybody's support. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Beshi's day.